much for joining. I'm so excited to be speaking with all of you. My name is Trina, and I run a non-profit organization called Kranti in Mumbai. And we work with daughters of sex workers and survivors of sex trafficking from Mumbai's red light areas. And so today I'm going to tell you Kranti's story. I'm going to tell you the stories of some of the girls that we work with, and I'm going to tell you about our education model. Wonderful. So Kranti, we started Kranti about 8 years ago, and it was 3 of us who started it. It was me. I have 2 other co-founders, Robin and Bani. All 3 of us were women in our 20s, and we were working in anti-trafficking organizations in different parts of the country. So I was working with an organization in Kalighat in Kolkata when I was going to college there. My co-founder Bani was doing raids and rescues in red light areas in brothels to rescue underage survivors of trafficking. And my co-founder Robin is Indian American, and she was very interested in working with women who face sexual abuse. And she was volunteering with different anti-trafficking organizations across India. And that's how we actually met, the 3 of us. We met while we crossed paths while we were volunteering, interning, working at these different organizations. And all of us felt like there was a gap in this space. Because of the high volumes of women and girls rescued from sex trafficking every year, the focus of the space was to teach the girls a skill that they can quickly learn and get them out of the system. And one can't blame them perhaps because of the numbers, but what it ended up looking like, and I'm sure all of you are familiar with this, that the only options these women and girls rescued from trafficking had was to learn to make pickles, papad, candle, sometimes learning stitching and embroidery, and trying to make an income from that. Now, all of these kinds of work, they have dignity, and absolutely women should have the choice to do them. But our point was that it has to be a choice. It was unfair to tell these women rescued from trafficking that you have only 2 options. Either you go back to sex work, or you can make candles, or you can make pickles. Whereas my co-founders and I were visiting these different organizations, we were meeting these girls, we saw such a great potential in them that we felt like it was unfair to tell them that they had these limited options of what they could do. And so we really wanted to create a space where these girls could come and choose to be anything they wanted to be. And it would be our job to find the opportunities for them to do that. And so we got this apartment in Mumbai, and it really helped that the 3 of us co-founders were young women, all in our 20s, because we were young and stupid, which was great because we didn't know all the things that could go wrong. So we jumped right into it. I feel like if anyone told us to start an organization today, we would think 10, 20, 100 times and never do it, because we know about all the difficulties and everything that can go wrong. But it really helped us at that point of time that we were young and stupid. So we got this apartment. We partnered with organizations who were working in the red light area, and through them, they gave us custody of adolescent girls, and through them, we started working with these girls. And our first vision, as I shared, of course, was that we would be the space for these girls to be anything they wanted to be. So the girls came in, and we started asking them. We said, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? And they told us that I want to be a teacher and I want to teach the children of sex workers because no one admits us in school. Because of the taboo connected with sex workers, we don't get admission in school. No one's willing to teach us. So I want to be a teacher of sex workers and their children. Our girls told us that I want to be a gynecologist, but I want to treat sex workers because even a lot of doctors don't want to touch sex workers and treat them because they think we have all these sexually transmitted diseases and that they are going to get these diseases by touching us. And so listening to these aspirations that our girls were talking about, we actually revisioned Kranti. And we said, okay, not only is Kranti a space where these girls can be whatever they want to be, these girls can be the best next generation of social change leaders. Because one, they understand social problems so deeply, having faced them firsthand. And second, they have such a passion to solve these social problems because they have faced them, and they're very passionate that other people in their community, other young girls like them, don't have to grow up facing the same problems. And so they're very passionate about playing a role in changing their communities. And so that's when we said that if, as Kranti, we can equip these girls with the knowledge and the leadership skills, then these girls can be the next generation of social change leaders, solving problems in their communities and the world. And that's how we got to what Kranti stands for today. When we say that our vision is we transform girls from Mumbai's red light areas into agents of social change. And so today I'm here to tell you about our secret sauce on how we transform these girls into agents of social change. So I want to start off by asking all of you, and maybe you can just chat your replies in the chat box. What do you think are the biggest challenges children are facing today? And think about children across demographics. Think about the children you work with. These could be children from privileged families, studying in international schools, in great schools, or these could be children who are first generation learners. These could be middle class children. Small. Think of any children that you work with or you know of, and what are the biggest challenges they're facing today. I'm just minimizing my screen because I want to go back to the chat and look at your responses. So yes, if you can all just chat your response. What are the biggest problems you think children face growing up in the world today? Biggest problems, biggest challenges?
I think identity, Trina.
Yes, identity. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? What do you mean by that?
Actually, they themselves are many times but don't find their roots, and because of that, they are into a lurch, and that identity loss many times is giving them uncomfortable situation.
Sure, absolutely. Anything else? All of you work with children, and what do you think are the problems that they face?
Well, I think indiscipline is the major problem these children face these days, whether it's the children of privileged school or underprivileged schools.
So indiscipline, I think, is our problem. When children are indisciplined, it becomes a problem for us. I was wondering more, what are the problems that children have to deal with and solve?
Higher expectations from parents based on socially
That's a very important one.
Yeah, based on socially prescribed, restrictions. They put in brackets.
Nobody's there to make them identify their skills.
Nobody's there to help them identify their skills. Yeah, it's hard for them to find what is my passion really. What do I really want to do? Right. Absolutely.
How to identify their passion, how to identify their right skill.
Yeah.
This is what is missing.
Yeah. Anything else?
The comparison with other kids, ma'am.
A comparison with other kids, for sure. Absolutely. Alka, ma'am, I think you were going to say something.
Yeah, their childhood is lost in the daily course. I'm working with the underprivileged students. So there is no childhood there, there is no happiness there. So they are striving for the daily needs along with their parents. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
I think there's also a lack of guidance in terms of how to adapt. There's so much change that's happened almost overnight.
Very, very true. Very true. And it's not like we
are home. I think children are facing this problem big time.
Absolutely. And I feel like we as adults, so to say, don't really know how to cope anyway, because this is such a fast-changing world for us. So often we are under-equipped to help them, right?
Yes.
So thank you.
May I also add something?
Yes.
What we face is that children are becoming global in their thought and in their practice, whereas they have to face parents who are local in their thoughts and practices.
Oh, wow.
So there is a big gap there, and the children are. I am from a school from a very small place in Chhatarpur, Madhya Pradesh, and children share that with us a lot. Being part of a school.
Sure. Absolutely. And then it basically leads to conflict
at a different level, and at home and in the society around their home, they feel that, they feel out of place. So
absolutely.
I think that also, they are becoming global. Their families and the surrounding is local in the thought.
Absolutely.
One point I want to add is the abuse which they face. So abuse is not only physical, also mental abuse.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Thank you. So that's, ma'am, thank you. That was a great segue into what I was going to say. And so I wanted to talk about, so this is Sheetal. She's 24 years old now, and she's someone that at Kranti, we've been working with her for about 7 years now. And Sheetal's mother is a sex worker. Sheetal's mother is also severely alcoholic. And so Sheetal grew up, she never went to any formal institution till the age of 14, 15, which is when she came to Kranti. She'd had for a few years in the middle, she'd sort of gone to government schools. And because her mother was quite abusive, Sheetal often had to she sort of left home. So from the age of 12, she actually worked as a domestic house help with the family. And this family, she was 12, and this family would often not give her food until she'd finished all her work for the day. And that's how Sheetal grew up. And the reason I started off this discussion by asking you what are the biggest problems children face is to show that, okay, so Sheetal has a unique set of problems, of course. She grew up without access to education. She faced sexual abuse growing up. She faced physical abuse, mental abuse, all of these things. But no matter who the child is growing up in the world today, they might be growing up in a red light area or in a privileged family. I think we can all agree that all children have to face quite complex challenges and problems in the world today. It could be poverty, it could be bullying, it could be anything in the middle, it could be expectations, it could be any of the things that you shared. But the important thing to know here is that all children are facing problems, and therefore it is really critical for us who work with children to equip them to solve these problems. And that is the main tenet that Kranti functions from. And so fast forward 7 years, Sheetal today is a therapist and a leadership trainer for other young children. So Sheetal trained as a music therapist. She went to music school in the US and Washington, DC, where she got a full scholarship. And because she was really passionate about music, helped her heal. Music therapy is something that really gave her strength and helped her overcome her traumas from her childhood. So she went to Washington, DC, trained to be a music therapist. And she works with children in government schools in Mumbai today, using music as a tool and building their leadership and their problem-solving abilities. And so the reason I wanted to start with Sheetal's story is to say that it's someone like Sheetal who faced these very severe problems as a child growing up can be this amazing social change leader today. Then then that means that I think all of the children that we work with in this room today, all of our children can do this and maybe much beyond. The Sheetal story is really inspiring for me personally to know that no matter how difficult a child's life has been, it is possible for us to transform them into problem solvers for those very problems that they grew up facing. So with that, I want to get into another story of Shraddha, also the daughter of a sex worker, and we've been working with her for the past 6 years. She was growing up in Kamatipura, which is the red light area in Bombay, and again did not have access to mainstream education. Was growing up actually with another family that wasn't her mother for a while. Grew up with many challenges, and today Shraddha is an artist, and she believes in using her art to talk about social issues. So she has worked as an art therapist for children with terminal illness. So she used to work in the pediatric ward of a hospital where children who are undergoing chemotherapy for cancer, they would be waiting for their treatments, and Shraddha would do art therapy with them while they were waiting. Shraddha has also worked with an organization that works with the transgender community to do public wall murals to spread awareness about the issues of transgender community. And recently, just last month, along with her with an organization, she painted this wall in Mumbai, right outside Mahim railway station, celebrating everyday COVID heroes. And so if any of you are in Mumbai or you go to Mumbai in future, this wall is there outside the Mahim railway station, which is fairly central Mumbai. So take a look at it if you go there. So with those stories, let me ask you, we've all agreed that children face these problems growing up, and we have to equip them to solve these problems. So what skills do you think children need to face these challenges? What skills do we need to build in them? And I'm going to minimize my screen again so I can look at all of you and have a quick chat. So yes, what skills do you think children need these days so that they can face all these complex problems in this fast changing world like all of you shared? So yes, if we can chat it, that would be great. Life skills, I'm seeing your answers. Emotional strength, people skills, confidence, passion, resilience. Yes, all of them, all of the above. Mental wellness, something I'm very passionate about personally, and I'm going to talk about 5 C's. Dr. Rajesh, will you also chat us what the 5 C's are? Life skills, confidence, emotional strength, strong desire to come out of the situation. Yes, right? What we call grit or resilience. They must have that resilience to say, I can overcome it, for sure. Okay, so emotional strength really, yeah, coming up all the time, very, very true. So keep chatting your answers, and I'm going to go and talk about what are the skills we believe at Kranti that we need to build in the girls we work with, so they can face these challenges. So how do we teach these skills to children? All these skills that you've just talked about: emotional strength, leadership, working with other people, resilience, life skills, confidence, all of these skills. How do we teach this? And this is Kranti's not so secret recipe to educating problem solvers. So the first part is absolutely, like all of you were saying, mental health and well-being. So at Kranti, you can imagine that the girls all of them have come from very traumatized pasts. So all of them have post-traumatic stress disorder. They have also been told growing up that, to say it in really crass language, I'm going to say it, and it's going to sound bad, but to know what they've been, the experiences they've gone through, they've heard all of their lives that randi ki beti randi banegi, right? And what that does to a young girl's self-esteem, right? So they don't believe themselves that they can be anything that they want to be. So there's post-traumatic stress disorder, there's low self-esteem, and a host of other mental health issues. And so once the girls come to Kranti, the first thing we work on is mental health and well-being. So all of our girls have one-on-one therapy with trained adolescent therapists. We practice meditation, we practice yoga, we do various forms of group therapy like art therapy, movement therapy, and while many of the children that all of you work with, thankfully, touch wood, haven't faced as much trauma as the girls we work with at Kranti, but all children have some issue or the other that they're dealing with. It could be the pressure that they can't handle. It could be comparison with other children. A lot of these problems that you talked about yourself. And therefore, therapy, counseling support is really critical, we believe, for all children, no matter what they're going through. And at Kranti, we've seen that unless we build mental well-being, we can't do anything else, right? So children can't do well at mainstream education. They are not going to do well, playing with other kids. They're not going to do well in extracurricular activities. So they can't really do anything else to their full capacity until they are in a mentally well place, emotionally stable place. And so that's where we start. And that's the first ingredient to building change makers. The second part is mainstream education. Because of course, our science, math, English, all of this is really important as well. So, and I know that this is the part that all of you in this call today are experts in, so I'm not going to talk much about it. But what we do with our girls is we admit them in mainstream schools. Sometimes, however, a girl's age gap with the classroom she needs to be in is too wide. So I can't exactly put a 14 or 15-year-old girl in a class 2 classroom, which is her education level. She's going to have a really difficult time adjusting socially with that. So in these kinds of situations, we have the girls homeschooled. Many of them have taken their exams under National India Open School, NIOS, systems, and usually by college or high school we are able to integrate them into mainstream education. So just to give you examples, 2 of our girls go to Ashoka University in New Delhi and they're studying there on full scholarships. 3 of our girls study in the US. 1 of our girls is doing a master's in Pisa in Italy. We also have girls studying in mainstream schools in Mumbai and boarding schools across India in Dehradun, near Tirupati, so on and so on and so forth. So we can't underestimate the power of core education either, because that's what builds the base for them to go forward in life and to have that confidence. Some of our girls are older than the system demands them to be. So for example, our girls who are in college in Ashoka University are 21, 22 when they should have been 18, 19, but I think that hardly matters in the larger scheme of things. So that's the mainstream education part. The third ingredient in Kranti's secret sauce of change makers is extracurricular activities, which you're all familiar with, but we have a specific perspective towards extracurricular activities. We believe that it's very important for each child to be able to tell their own story in their own way. And so extracurricular activities is really giving these children a tool of their choice to be able to tell their story. So if it's art, then how are they telling their own story through their art? A lot of our girls like creative writing, they write poetry, so how are they expressing themselves through that? The photo you see over here, Lal Batti Express, is a play that our girls have been doing for the past 5 years. Lal Batti Express is a play which is their own stories growing up in the red light area. So this play, we have toured with this play not only all over India, but also across the US, in the UK. We toured with it last summer in 6 different countries in Europe. So while the theatre production actually really started out as a healing tool for the girls, it was a way for them to reclaim their own stories, tell it in a way that they want to be told. And so I found it really interesting when I was asking in the beginning that what are the problems children face? And the first answer I got was identity. They have a struggle defining their identity. I love that answer because that truly is such a big problem that they face. So I think a lot of our girls, when they come to Kranti, they're struggling with their identity. It's perhaps the most core struggle, right? Who am I? Am I defined by the fact that my mother was a sex worker? Am I defined by my skin color? Am I defined by the fact that I'm, too late for me to catch up on education? Am I defined by the fact that I grew up in the red light area and therefore I can do and be nothing else? And so through theater, when they're able to tell their own story, what it really helps them do is define their identity. It helps them say that I am a girl, a really strong girl who's overcome all these difficult experiences. My identity is someone who wants to become a music therapist for other children. My identity is someone who wants to use art therapy to help terminally ill children, right? So it's a really empowering experience for them to be able to tell their own story, because mostly in the world we have other people defining our stories. So our girls do various forms of extracurricular activities, but we gear all of them towards how do you use the skill you're learning through extracurricular activities to tell your story. And finally now, the main secret sauce. So all of this that I've talked about now is something that really builds a strong base for us to be able to teach change making to our girls. The mental well-being, the mainstream education, the ability to tell their story in creative ways and own their identity. We've built a base so far. And what we pile on top of that is our specific Kranti school curriculum that we have developed in-house. And this curriculum, we basically look at this on these 2 axes that you see. So on the vertical, on the y-axis is who, which, and we call it that because we're saying that, this is where we are really transforming and building the who is going to be the problem solver. We're building that person. So on this vertical, we teach the girls, again, many of the skills you yourself said. So to build their self-esteem, to build critical thinking, conflict resolution, creative problem solving, leadership. These are all the skills that we feel like they need to be social change makers. How to take initiative, how to gather the community and gather their support to be able to do the problem solving that you want to do. So in this vertical, we build all the skills that we feel they internally need to learn to become problem solvers. And then on the x-axis is the what. So on the y-axis, we said, okay, who is going to be doing the change making? And then on the x-axis, we have what are they going to be changing? And here in the syllabus and the curriculum, we cover various social justice issues. So we have modules on gender inequality, racism, caste discrimination, bullying, and often the girls will tell us that, this is a problem that I feel like I think about all the time, that really bothers me, I want to work on this issue. So we'll build a module for them. And so the idea is that by the time the girls are graduating from the Kranti school program, they know which areas of work they're passionate about, that they want to go and solve and work on in their communities. They have the skills to solve them. They have all the information they need about that problem. They know the root causes of the problem. They know some partner organizations that work on it. They've gone and interned there. So they know what is happening. They might have identified a gap that they want to work on, and they're equipped with the skills to do that. So this is the purpose of the curriculum. And that brings me back to a story of another one of our girls, Tanya. So Tanya's mother, again, was a sex worker. And when Tanya's mother passed away, one of her long-term clients told Tanya that your mother's dead, so now you're my wife, quote unquote. And when Tanya was 14, 15-year-old, this man raped her every day for many years until Tanya ran away from there and came to Kranti. Tanya found her healing through dance. She's a wonderful, passionate dancer. And she wants to use dance as a means to help other people heal. So today, Tanya is a licensed Zumba instructor, and Tanya teaches Zumba to children in NGOs, in orphanages across Mumbai, as a healing tool, as a form of healthy emotional expression, so that it helps these children heal from their issues, have healthy emotional expression like she found through dance. And this is what the Kranti curriculum enables the girls we work with to do. It enables them to take the problem, the social problems that have troubled them the most growing up, and it enables them to transform that into their ability to go and solve that problem for other young people like them. And the reason, so this is our Kranti school classroom, where we had these shelves in our library, custom built, that we are very proud of. And so the reason Kranti believes that transforming children into problem solvers is so critical is because the world, like you said, is changing so fast, and it's so difficult to cope with it that I don't think children can any longer rely on other people to solve problems for them. Teachers, parents, adults, other people, we can't rely on other people to build a better world for us in that sense. And so children need to be equipped with the skills to solve problems, not just for themselves, but for other people in their community as well, because it's the only sustainable way for us to build a better world, to equip our children to be problem solvers. While Kranti works specifically with young children, young women from the red light area, our core philosophy that all children need to be agents of social change and problem solvers, our philosophy is not limited to daughters of sex workers only. We started working with daughters of sex workers to really make the case that, look, if we can take a girl who is a survivor of trafficking at the age of 9, 10, 12, 14, and if we can transform this girl who's perhaps faced the worst atrocities, if we can transform her into a social change agent, then we can do it with any child. And so starting this year, we actually started thinking about, what does scale mean for Kranti? Does it mean having more girls at Kranti? Does it mean branches of Kranti in different cities? What does scale mean for us? And that's when we said that what we want to scale is not all of Kranti, but what we want to scale is our secret sauce, is our change-making leadership curriculum. Because there are so many great organizations across India who are doing many of the other parts really wonderfully. They are doing mainstream education really well. Maybe they even have the mental well-being support. They have really great extracurricular programs, but what they might not have is the change-making curriculum. So if we can go and layer our secret sauce on top of what they're already doing, then we don't have to replicate the work that's being done, and we can reach out to more children through our curriculum and equip them to be problem solvers. So starting this year, our older girls, Sheetal is one of them that I talked about earlier. Tanya is another one. Our older girls who graduated from our program are working in other organizations, teaching the Kranti change-making curriculum to these children. So like I said, Tanya works across different NGOs and in orphanages and children's homes in Mumbai. One of our girls, Asmita, works in an organization that works with children with terminal illness. One of our girls works with an organization that teaches children from slums, first generation learners, children of migrant laborers, and all of them are teaching Kranti's problem solving, change making curriculum to these children. And that is how we believe at Kranti that we are really going to get to a better world, by equipping our children to build it for themselves. So I will stop here. So on that note, and of course, as all of you know, we will be taking questions. But before we do that, I want to invite Sita Lakshmi Vishwanath. Ma'am, over to you to share your thoughts with us for a few minutes.
I'm Sita Lakshmi. I'm heading a school, an IB school in Bangalore, Amrita International Vidyalayam, and I'm here because I love children and I love teaching. The question that I'm supposed to answer is, what are the most important things our education system needs to teach children to prepare them for the post-COVID world? I'm going to be very, very brief. I have, in fact, 3 important points to highlight. What has COVID done? What was traditional teaching? And what should the future concentrate on? So, during the last few months, with the pandemic spreading everywhere, what has COVID done to us? First, education has to rely now on online tools. And there is complete virtual instruction with no possibility of teacher interacting face-to-face with any students. Along with this has come changed assessment patterns, and there is role shift in the family. The father and mother who could not have time for children now are forced to spend a little more time, in fact, even to open the mobile or laptop and ensure that children participate. It becomes a responsibility of the family. When it is asynchronous work allotted on the days when they don't have the online synchronous classes, parents have to support the child. In a traditional classroom, all of us are aware there was a chalk and talk method, static presentations. We had smart classes with interactive devices, but then it was again limited. I'm going to focus on this a little more. In the post-COVID era, what is necessary? It becomes very, very important that we need to train or prepare children for an advanced future. Future is not going to remain the same, and we definitely cannot anticipate going back to the classrooms of yesterday. And parents have become aware of high quality education through online teaching, because if I need to do effective online teaching, I have to bring in engaging content that is meaningful for the child and that the child is going to really understand. Otherwise, online teaching is not effective at all. So it becomes necessary from the teacher's standpoint that high quality content is made available to the student. And it also becomes evident now that parents' participation in their ward's education has to continue if we need better bonding and beautiful family relationships. Online education also has given the confidence to every child that all children in a class can succeed. With effective online education, it is definitely possible to ensure that. We have to continue, even in the post-COVID days, regulated usage of balancing content and screen time and internet safety. Children have become used to online tools. Children are aware of the power of the internet. So ensuring internet security and balancing content and screen time is very, very essential. It is also necessary to ensure student attention, which became different in online education. When they come face to face, they are going to have problems, and this has to be attended to by the teacher. A teacher giving lecture all the time in a classroom is definitely not going to be welcome anymore. We need to continue to give relevant, engaging educational content with minimized cognitive load. Multimedia learning through videos, audio files, text files, worksheets, group calls, all these things. Children are going through all these months, and suddenly you cannot stop the way in which they were using Padlets or other tools. And hence, a teacher coming back to face-to-face education also will have to continue using them. And in online teaching, we had screen time with sufficient breaks between sessions. So if we are going to have a timetable with 4 or 5 periods before recess and a break of 10 minutes, it is going to really affect students a little. And we have been giving eye exercises for screen viewing with correct posture. Maybe this also will have to continue in face-to-face classroom. What has been the role played by online education? Already existent in the form of textbooks and to creatively design content where the learner was exposed to usage of blogs, journal writing, media, games, collaborative student-generated content, etc. will have to continue because children have learned how to inquire into the subjects. Learner needs to get a continuity of the things she enjoyed, and entire focus of the teaching learning process has to shift to real teaching and effective learning, because learning has to become enduring learning. Teachers and students will have to move forward to a taxonomy which has to be more broad-based than Bloom's taxonomy, and course content designed to suit the new curricular objectives should be deliverable in every classroom with relevant and repeated training sessions which can be in-house in addition to those conducted by specialists outside the schools. We know that no two schools can have the same type of education anymore, and training of teachers to include assimilation, organization, usage of knowledge content, going hand in hand with empowerment in the use of technology becomes imminent. School leaders also have to equip teachers with new and advanced communication skills. I'm sorry, it should be skills which will help teachers to mentor and monitor students. And we have to redesign our learning process. Starting from the head of institution, teachers, coordinators, we need to become design thinkers and think of blending the way we strategize learning. We need to ensure more opportunities for inclusive learning and integrate thinking, creativity, and innovation into everyday learning need to discover the unique potential lying hidden in every learner. And a big thank you to the organizers and to all the participants for your wonderful, patient hearing.
Questions? You're gonna put up a slide with the questions, no? Perfect. Clearly, Dipankar and his team have chosen the most difficult questions from all the ones that all of you shared. But Sita ma'am and I will try to tackle them the best we can. So how do we equip children to withstand the dynamics of society? I think we talked about this a little bit when we talked about how the world is changing so rapidly, and how do we equip our children to deal with this, because often as adults we can't process it enough, and often children are coping better with it than we as adults are, right? Because they're more adaptable, they're more flexible, they're on social media, they're using technology better than us. And so I really think children need to be teaching us as adults how to withstand the dynamics of society. But I think the short answer to how do we equip our children is that we equip them with the skills I talked about, that if we can equip them with self-awareness, knowledge of different social justice issues, problem-solving skills, leadership skills, self-esteem, that is how they can deal with the dynamics in this fast-changing world. I'm going to go through these questions, and Sita ma'am, I will ask for your help. But if I'm not answering them sufficiently enough, I will be sharing my contacts at the end of this call. So feel free to email me. I'm really good on email. I'm really bad on the phone, but I'm really happy to write detailed emails anytime. So if I'm either not answering your questions sufficiently enough right now, or if there are questions you have which are not on this list, please feel free to email me anytime. So the second one, what would you recommend to teachers who desire to see this change in underprivileged students? So the first recommendation I have is to have very high expectations of your children. Children will reach whatever expectations you have of them. So if you expect that, I just hope jaise taise 10 pass kar le, that is what they will do. But if you expect that they're going to change the world, they will grow to meet your expectations. So my first recommendation is, no matter who the student is that you're working with, never lower your expectations. Hold them to the highest standards. And of course, the second recommendation then is that how do we support them to fulfill these very high expectations we have of them. So if I'm expecting that a child who's a first generation learner growing up in a slum, studying in a municipal school, if I'm expecting that that child is going to change the way education is done in government schools in future, how do I equip this child with the skills to do that? Can I teach them about the education system, how it works, how it's structured, what are the problems? Can I teach them the leadership skills to be able to go out and change them? The third question, would you like to know if there are different priorities, or would like to know if there are different priorities in terms of values and skills post-COVID for students? Sita ma'am, can I throw this one to you?
Yeah. The priorities, I think, is definitely related to skill development and self-esteem. Self-esteem has to be very strong, because online learning helps in self-directed learning too. So if I need to make children continue to have this focus on learning in the post-COVID era, then we will have to continue on skill-oriented learning and not merely on knowledge-oriented learning, because that would also be the recommendation that I would suggest for question 2, skill developmental learning with an understanding of ethical values which will guide them, will help them. And when we make them see the sky as the limit for their ambitions, definitely any underprivileged student will have the opportunity to go. I have one of the son of a carpenter now remaining the vice president of Citibank. It is possible. I think you have to unmute.
Good point. I totally forgot. Can we have integrity in the new blend learning? I am not sure what this question means. Sita ma'am, do you want to take this one?
It is not related only to blended learning. It is related to any learning. Integrity is a part of the value system. And if I need to blend learning, then I am blending in, bringing in inclusiveness. I am bringing in integration. I am bringing in, this online learning and face-to-face learning together, all come into blended learning. So blended learning does not merely talk about integrity. Integrity is a value which is a part of the personality development of a child. That comes with the self-esteem, the confidence that the child grows through.
Wonderful. And finally, how do we make our children self-inspired? So Sita ma'am, maybe we can answer this together. So I'll say my answer first, and then I'll hand over to you for final closing comments. How do we make our children self-inspired? I think what we have to do is find what they love doing. And okay, Sita ma'am agrees, so I'm on the right track. I can see her nodding vehemently. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of, I have heard a lot of parents say, my child is on the, is on the phone, is playing video games all day. So the question for us is that how do we use video games? How do we use what the child is already attracted to have them inspired? So if they're playing video games all day, can we say, hey, can you, start your own YouTube channel to teach how to play video games to other children? Give them a purpose that is related to what they're already interested in. Can we tell them that, do you want to learn programming and learn to make a video game which teaches skills to other children, right? Or make any video game that you want. So whatever they are naturally attracted to, it is our job to transform them into an opportunity where they can use their own passion to do something with that, right? If they're attracted to sports, what do we do with that? So that would be my answer. Sita ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, I have the firm conviction that we have to help children set their own goals. Many parents decide what children have to become, what children need to dream. Right from childhood, let them set their own goals, whether it is the immediate goal or a goal that they have before them after 10 years. Also, the kind of the model that is available at the institution level and at the family level also becomes a source of inspiration to a child. So how we behave as parents, how we use the TV in a drawing room, how we interact with the members of the family, all these things are learning, I would say, processes for the child, and the child learns. That was how we learned when we were all part of a joint family. Many of us are old enough to think of the joint family system from which we come from. And therefore, this self-inspiration comes from looking at grandfather, looking at how the entire family is treating grandfather. So I want to also become like grandfather. The discipline that he has, the personality that he commands. So as parents, I think it is our duty. As teachers, I think it is our duty. Also, let the child learn to choose what he wants to do, what he wants to become. That itself, because if I love what I do, inspiration automatically comes from within me. I had always wanted to become a teacher, though my father wanted me to try other areas, but I made it very clear. And he understood. So if parents understand what children love, what children accept in their heart, then I get job satisfaction, I get the inspiration to do, and I can achieve. That would be my answer.
Thank you, Sita ma'am. Thank you, everyone. I think we've been super punctual. It is exactly 6 o'clock.
Yes.
On that note, I have put my email address in the chat box. It's Trina@kranti-india.org. Like I said, feel free to reach out to me with anything we can talk about. I assure you a response within 24 hours. I'm very good with that. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Trina.
Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you, Trina.
I have also shared my
Thank you, Sita, Lakshmi, ma'am. It was nice seeing you this way. I've worked with people like you. Thank you very much.
I have left my email ID also. Anybody who wants to
let us
contact me,
note it down.
please.
1 minute.
SitaLV@gmail.com.
And I'm sure if any of you miss out on it, you can always get in touch with future school leaders.
And Tina, I would be in touch with you.
I missed first session, but second one is wow. Thank you.
I'm glad. I know we are all facing a little bit of like webinar exhaustion. So thank you.
I stopped. I stopped.
I stopped. I was on
the same boat. So I'm a little worried when I have to talk on a webinar because I've been on the receiving end. But I'm glad all of you came and you stayed with us through the whole talk.
It was light and good.
Yeah. It was really nice, Sitaraman ma'am. I will be in touch with you. And Tina, definitely I would like to be with you, especially like to volunteer with you.
We would love that. Yes, please write to me. And like I said, if you miss out on noting down the email address, I'm sure Dipankar from Future School Leaders will be happy to pass it on to you. Thank you, everyone. Have a very good evening. Stay safe.
Thank you.